What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Hippo Supercoach, and today we're going to be talking about my best trade targets for round 8. Now, I've actually done this kind of video since last year. I was always uploading, my trade plan specifically, but I thought we need to actually talk about general public and what trade plans you guys are going to be doing, because at the end of the day, there's going to be people out there with some cash in the bank. They're going to be able to do better upgrades than me. So we're going to go through the top trade targets, and then we're going to go through the top trade outs. So we'll do the trade outs first. So let's just open it in this tab, and we're going to hover over here. I'm going to go right down and see if we can control. All right, we'll go one more. So these are the top 10 trade outs, guys. Right here. And we're going to actually bring the camera up a tiny bit. Can we see that? Oscar McDonald number 1. Basically, you can see that. I don't think we can quite get the scroll. That's all right. Oscar McDonald was number 1 with 15%, 15.7%. Look, this one is just a matter of if he plays. Now, a lot of people are expecting Luke Jackson to come back, which is completely understandable. He's a worry, no doubt about it. So we got to watch that, and if he's in, you have to pick him. I think his break even's very nice, -64 break even. So yeah, we'll definitely look to pick him if he's named. If he's not, then we have to look at someone like a Huswaite, who is number 2. So there's only 3 guys, in my opinion, that are worth even a look in terms of downgrading, and that's McDonald, Huswaite, and Buslinger, who is at number 8. I think I said we were going to talk about trade outs first. We're clearly looking at trade ins first, so this video structure is a little bit scrambled, but it's 5 o'clock in the morning, so my brain's not working too well. But yeah, so Huswaite, McDonald, and Buslinger, pretty much the only downgrade options, and I wouldn't like to double downgrade this week just because none of these guys have job security at all. So it's a bit of a sticky situation. Now, if you haven't jumped on Matt Flynn yet, I think there's still time. Problem is, how do you get him if you don't have a great R3? So if you're not running Gorn, Cherry, Meek, DeConing, 3 of those guys, then you can still grab Flynn. And I would be doing that if I were you. But obviously most people jumped on him last week, so probably not in that situation. Too many people. Anyway, Huswaite we'll talk about a little bit more. So he's a midfielder who's apparently been tearing it up in the resis. Scored the 73 this week. Look, he's a massive, massive sub threat as well. So I'm worried about that. And then, like, best case scenario, he plays, but he probably goes out for Connor Nash, who got suspended in 2 weeks, 3 weeks time. So he only actually gets 1 price rise. So this is a massive red flag. Like I said, the sub risk looks huge. We just got to hope to God that he plays like out of his skin for the next few weeks and basically says, you can't pick me as the sub. I'm playing that well. But I just don't know who else they're going to have as sub. He looks like the clear one, in my opinion. Yeah. So out of all the guys, so we'll talk about Buslinger a bit. He's a defender. I don't love the pick. We're going early on Huswaite and Buslinger if we pick him. Oscar McDonald, he's played 2 games, so he's actually on the bubble. He's the only one on the bubble. So look, the options this week to downgrade are really scarce. It makes me not confident at all that these guys can get through one more week. Even if they get through this week, Oscar McDonald could be the sub, you just don't know. I doubt it. I think he's going to be just straight dropped if they're going to replace him with Jackson. So that's going to be a telling sign. And then, look, if McDonald's dropped, then we have to take a punt on either Buslinger or Huswaite. If I had to flip a coin, if I had to pick a 50-50, it would be Buslinger. Slightly more chance of staying in the team. Very slightly. But Huswaite's clearly only in because Connor Nash went out. So make of that what you will. Let's talk about some primos, getting the juicy stuff, because now the rookies, we know they're not great this week. Grab one max. Do not grab two or three if you're boosting. So Christian Petracca is a great option this week, no doubt about it. 12,428 people bringing him in for very good reason. So we knew his form would turn around. It was only a matter of time. Break even of 70, 497k. Just remember, guys, this guy has been 650k. All right, and I'm talking only a couple of seasons ago, like 2 seasons ago. Last season you can't really count because he was injured. And he plays West Coast this week. I think he's the absolute #1 trade target if you don't have him. I'm expecting a big score, and I think you got the captain potential this week. He's back to his like 70% CBA, so really good signs. And people look at Track and they go, he's had a shit year, and he's had a down year for his standards, yes. But really, the 78 and 80, they're not great. Other than that, 98, 92, 96, 94, 129, he's still giving you 90s. And at 497k, if worst case he goes back to that, that's still a good price, I think, for like a 95 average. But I expect Christian Petracca to be a lot more than a 95 average. I think it's been a long time since he's averaged anywhere near that low. So expect him to potentially be a 110 average, especially with that full mid roll. Yeah, it's just very juicy, the Petracca pick. Now, someone similar is Chad Warner, 30k cheaper. I personally wouldn't go him. I know he's great value because, he's cheap, but he's such a roller coaster. I'd much rather Petracca. I think he's way more consistent. But yeah, if you're keen on Warner, I don't hate it. But I think if you're flipping between Petracca and Warner, which I think most people would be this week, grab Petracca and just be confident that he is going to be probably a 105 to 110 average for the rest of the season. Marcus Bontempelli at 5. Now, I think I started my stream last night with Bont in my team. And look, yes, it's great to have the #1 player in Supercoach. I mean, Butters is technically #1, but Bont will probably finish #1. He has the last 2 seasons. It would be great to have him in your team. But if you look at those round 12 buys, it's very, very tough. We're playing in round 12. Look how many players I have out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're out of my primos. So it's already hard as is. If you're adding someone like Bont, it just makes it even harder. So Bont and Butters have that early buy. So I'd strongly recommend steering clear until their buy. So what my strategy personally will be, obviously depending on what trades I make this week, but generally what I'm thinking is just get rid of all the rookies on the field. Once you've got rid of all the rookies, and you might have some fake primos. I'm not trying to get fake primos, but Bailey Dale and Tom Stewart are looking extremely fake at the moment. Guys like Chera as well. Chera's not going to be a 130 average like Bont. So someone like him and Moraes could turn into Bontempelli, and you want to do that after the buy. Clayton Oliver's probably a good pick as well to flip. He's not going to be a 130, it seems. He's more like a 95 to 100. Grab Bont for him. And that way you're still not fielding any rookies. So that's my plan with Bont, and I think just wait a little bit before you get him. Round 12's only around the corner, alright? So, what is it? It's round 8 now. We've got 4 more rounds. Look, all Bont needs to do is go 80 or 90, and his price is coming right down. So, yep. I think you're playing against the odds if you get Bont for this price, and Butters for that matter. So, my recommendation is to hold off. Yes, it'll be lovely going into the week having Bont in your team, but just hold off for now, I think. Isaac Rankin. So, Rankin versus Petracca is an interesting one. I personally think Petracca still, and if I had to rank the 3 of the forwards, Petracca, Rankin, Warner. He'll be a fine pick, and I think he's highly owned in the top 1%. So if you are keen on, equalising those top teams, go for it. But I think Petracca, much more upside personally. I'd be going him. Lachie Neale. So this is my #1 midfielder target for the week. Obviously Petracca if you can him as a midfielder. But Lachie Neale, it looks like tags are going to McCluggage now. Even Ashcroft copped a bit on the weekend, which I can't believe. But Lachie Neale, this guy's a perennial top 8 mid. So you can't Yeah, and he's going to want a Brownlow too. I know people say he's playing more selfless. He is playing more selfless, but I'm telling you now, the games where he doesn't get tagged, he's going to want those 3 votes. So, Lachie Neale, captain option as well. This guy's been a beast since I can remember. Supercoach king for sure. So, yeah, look, 562k for Lachie Neale is dirt cheap. Break even's pretty low. Let's have a look. 79, yeah, very low for Lachie Neale. I'd be shocked if he didn't go big this week. Q Clash. And who have they got to tag him? Took Miller's not really tagging anymore. Like, I think he goes nuts. It's going to be a good midfield battle, that one, actually. And then Bailey Humphrey. So people are actually bringing him in. Kind of crazy. I'm not really sure on this one. I know he went nuts, but he's a very inconsistent scorer. I think he scored 40 last week and then, 48 the week before, and then 151. So he's gone 64, 74, 48, 151. Break even is 20. Is that why people are bringing him, expecting to make cash? I wouldn't be doing it. I think these 2,000 people are crazy and they're just points chasers. So let's talk about traded out. Most traded out players, I assume it'd be Davidson, Ashcroft, those kind of guys. So Davidson's one, like all these guys are valid trade outs in my opinion. Just depends on your situation, and just keep in mind, guys, that once the cash of these 10 sort of players dries out, there's not a lot coming through. We might get a Cleary to cash in a few weeks, but other than that, I can't really think of many cash cows that are going to make serious money, like 100k plus. Obviously, Flynn's a little bit different because you expect him to be a keeper for a while at least. But yeah, I think you can get rid of all these guys and be quite comfortable if the upgrade suits, and just generally trade strategy. Just try and make your team better every week. That's what I try and do. Doesn't always pan out, obviously. Bringing in Max Holmes last week with a boost for a nice 70, and then trading out 2 90s, Zach Reed and Connor O'Sullivan. So yeah, I think I'd probably hold Reed and O'Sullivan if you can. I know they're not going to score 90 every single week, but I'd hold them. And then let's talk about my plans to round out the video. It hasn't really changed since the last video. Now, I went through some options in my stream. Thanks to everyone who tuned in for that. It was a midnight stream, so pretty happy with that. But at this point, just looking to hold Stewart. Gonna wait and see what they say. Look, he could be a laid out. He could rip my heart out, but I just don't like the fact that I've lost 80k on him. Yes, I'm probably being a bit stubborn, not trading him, but I think that's like we're kind of bottomed out at this point. I mean, I can't remember the last time Tom Stewart went back-to-back 60s, and I think his role is very bruise-free. He should be able to play slightly underdone on it. So we'll wait and see with that one. But yeah, Jordan Clark at 530, averaging a really steady 107. No huge ceiling scores, but no low floor scores, and I really like that. So if you're bringing in Clark, you know you're probably going to get a consistent ton every week, which is what my team needs, I think. Needs a little bit of stability. So makes the team look really good. Look, Bailey Dale and Tom Stewart are not ideal, but it means we're fielding Bice at D6, and I'm happy to keep him at D6. He's averaging 90. So let's just say we're set there for now. We're not fully primo, clearly, but we're set in our back line. Then we move on to the midfield. We're pretty much set there too. The only one we are fielding in the whole team that we don't really want to field is Connor Stone, who's averaging 48, but is playing more up the ground, or did last week anyway, and scored the 78. But I'm expecting him to be my worst 22, the worst score in the 23 anyway. So you could say the team's looking pretty good. It's not full primo, but it's close. Marriage, I expect to be a keeper in the forward line. We just need a mid. So actually, Connor Stone could be one to cash in a few weeks. -1 break even. If he can get his cash gen going, that'd be huge. Caden Cleary, break even of 7. So hopefully he can string a few good games together. They clearly have faith in him. He wasn't a sub last week. And he wasn't dropped. So I was almost guaranteed. I was almost certain he was going to be dropped or sub. So we're pretty lucky with that one. And he scored an 89 for us. But yeah. In terms of the final team, we're running that one extra defender. So that could potentially be either a mid or a flex. Or we just trade like a Tom Stewart and try and grab a Bont. We'll just wait and see. If Tom Stewart is laid out, I'm going to have to cop it. It's so annoying, but I have to cop it because there's nothing else I can do. So St Kilda and Freo, who I'm bringing in, Jordan Clark, plays on the Friday night, whereas Tom Stewart plays on the Saturday night. I think they need him though. I think they're going to play him even if he is slightly hurt. So I'm backing him in, but I don't want to. These aren't like my guaranteed trades. The other option I was looking at was Tom Stewart and Davidson for Jordan Clark. So wait and see with that one, but I'd rather keep Stewart over Levi Ashcroft. The role is clearly better by leagues. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I hope everyone's enjoyed tonight. It's been a pretty good video, I think. We talked pretty much every trade target. There's not really any. In terms of fallen primos, guys like Dawson, LDU, Dunkley. Look, Dunkley's a good option. I'd probably wait 1 week if I could. He's one I'll definitely be looking at next week. But, yeah, just not so sure about him at the moment. Playing wing, so one to worry about. Actually, next week, I don't know if I'll be able to do a whole lot. Doesn't look like we have much cash available, so it might be 2 weeks of just holding trades and waiting for cash to come. Yeah, Cleary could be one in a couple of weeks where we could sell him for 300. Hopefully Connor Stone gets a 300 and then we do look at a fallen primo. Because at the end of the day, I think that that final slot in that midfield will be a fallen primo. I don't think we can afford to get Bont or Butters with this cash gen at the moment. So we'll grab someone like a Heaney. Even a Callum Mills coming back supposedly soon could be a decent option if he plays full mid. So keep an eye on him. He's probably my only hope in terms of cheap guys coming back. Kaden Coleman too. How does he go with Zorko? Does he average a ton? Maybe. Not sure. So yeah. At the moment, team's semi-set. Tom Stewart could be gone next week. Bailey Dale could be gone next week. We could turn them into like, I don't know, someone good. Because right now those guys suck. But yeah, holding the faith, trying to not trade my promos and trying to stick to what structure I initially wanted and just don't trade promos and get rookies off the field. And then we'll worry about sidewaysing then once we're set. So that's it for the video. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you in the next one.